Most people think freedom means money, but if someone disrespects you and you explode, if you get rejected and you fall apart, if you're not chosen and you lose yourself, how free are you really? If your emotional state depends on the outside world, you're not free. Today, I want to talk about the kind of freedom no one really talks about. The kind that doesn't start in your bank account, but in your inner stability. Because as long as your reactions control you, your circumstances control you. And if you're ready to build real strength and freedom from the inside out, make sure you subscribe. This is where we grow up emotionally. I once knew a guy who inherited a large business and a significant amount of money. Not just comfortable money, real opportunity. Everyone around us saw him as the lucky one, the guy who won at life. People were mentally spending his money for him, giving advice, talking about how they would run his company, where they would invest, what they would change. From the outside, he looked free, but no one saw what was happening inside him. At first, he started trying to prove himself, prove that he deserved it, prove that he wasn't just a lucky heir. He bought expensive things, changed cars, paid for everyone at dinner. It didn't look insecure. It looked generous. But underneath it was fear. Fear of not being enough. Then the business started facing normal challenges. Nothing unusual, just the kind of pressure every company experiences. But instead of slowing down and thinking strategically, he reacted emotionally. He wanted to be liked. He didn't want conflict. He didn't want anyone doubting him. So he made decisions to please people, ignored red flags to avoid confrontation, signed bad deals just to look agreeable. Every decision wasn't about long-term strategy. It was about managing discomfort. And slowly, everything started tightening around him. The more pressure he felt, the more chaotic his decisions became. Instead of pausing, he rushed. Instead of calculating, he reacted. Instead of leading, he sought approval. Within 4 years, he lost everything. The business, the money, and eventually even his apartment. And here's the hard truth. He had resources, he had opportunities, he had a head start most people only dream about. But he didn't have inner stability. Money amplifies who you already are. It doesn't fix your foundation. If you're anxious, money makes the anxiety bigger. If you're insecure, the stakes get higher. If you need validation, it just becomes more expensive. You can have millions and still be emotionally trapped. In fact, money can intensify your lack of freedom because now the cost of your reactions is much higher. If you look at major lottery winners, many of them end up back where they started, sometimes even worse. Why? Because their mindset didn't change, their emotional patterns didn't change, their automatic reactions didn't change. Money simply accelerated the pattern. If you can't manage yourself, you won't be able to manage more. Freedom isn't about the amount you have. It's about the stability you carry within you when pressure increases. So here's the real question. If your opportunities multiplied tomorrow, would you be able to handle them? Or would your automatic reaction start running the show? We've been taught to think that a lack of freedom comes from external limits. Not enough money, not enough opportunities, not enough support, not enough choices. But here's the truth. Even when people get more options, many of them still don't feel free. Because freedom isn't about how many choices you have. It's about how consciously you choose. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you said, "That's just how I am. I'm just emotional. I'm just sensitive." But that's not your personality. That's conditioning. When someone touches a wound, you defend. When someone doubts you, you start proving. When you're ignored, you question your worth. That's not choice. That's a pattern. And any pattern you can't control controls you. Real lack of freedom doesn't look like a prison. It looks like a habit. The habit of overreacting. The habit of overthinking. The habit of shrinking yourself. The habit of responding before you even pause. And the most dangerous part? We call it normal. Now imagine a person who can't be easily shaken, not because they don't care, but because they are grounded. They get rejected, and they don't collapse. They get criticized, and they reflect instead of attack. They're not chosen, and they don't lose their sense of worth. That's freedom. Freedom is emotional maturity. It's the space between what happens and how you respond. In that space, there is power. You can yell, or you can stay calm. You can shut down, or you can communicate. You can run, or you can stay present. These seem like small decisions, but they shape your entire life. Most people live on autopilot. Trigger, reaction, consequences. Trigger, reaction, regret, over and over again. And until you become aware of that cycle, you're trapped in it. Inner freedom begins with one uncomfortable truth. No one controls your emotions. Yes, people can provoke you. Yes, they can disappoint you. Yes, they can hurt you. But what happens inside you is still yours. And that's not blame. That's power. Because if you're responsible for your inner state, you can change it. And if you can change it, you're not stuck. Freedom isn't somewhere out there. It begins the moment you pause, feel what's happening, and choose your response consciously. That's where a different level of life begins. So, how do you grow the kind of person who can handle big opportunities? Because big money, influence, and scale always come with pressure. More responsibility, more decisions, more criticism, more risk. The question isn't whether the scale will come. The question is whether your mindset is ready for it. First, stop running from discomfort. People who can't handle pressure make decisions to make things easier, not to make them right. They avoid difficult conversations. They sign bad deals. They agree when they should say no. Growth always comes with tension. And if you can't sit in it calmly, you'll start breaking what you're building. Second, separate self-worth from results. If your value depends on success, you'll be afraid to scale. Every mistake feels like a personal threat. A mature person can lose a deal and not fall apart. Hear criticism and not go on the defensive. Face rejection and still maintain self-worth. This is inner stability. Third, learn to pause before making decisions. Most financial and life failures don't happen because of a lack of intelligence. They happen because of impulsivity, fear, ego, the need to prove yourself, the desire to please. Decisions made from these states are rarely strategic. A strong person knows how to slow down, even when everyone around is rushing. Fourth, accept that not everyone will like you. Big opportunities automatically make you uncomfortable to someone. Someone will envy you. Someone will criticize. Someone will leave. If you fear this, you'll unconsciously shrink yourself. The person who can handle scale understands. Disapproval is the price of growth. And finally, stop thinking of money as the goal. Start thinking of yourself as the system. Money is the result of your level of thinking, emotional maturity, and discipline. If the system inside is unstable, the results will be unstable. So the real question isn't, how do I make more money? It's, who do I need to become to hold more? Opportunities come to many people, but they only stay with the resilient. And this is where true freedom begins. When you're not afraid of more, because you know you can handle it. So, let's wrap this up. Freedom isn't money. Freedom isn't status. Freedom isn't what you can buy or afford. Freedom starts inside, with the ability to stay calm under pressure, with the ability to choose rather than react automatically, with the ability to stay grounded even when chaos surrounds you. Even 1 hour spent intentionally can change the course of your life. One conscious choice can flip a year. One habit can shape your entire future. Big opportunities don't make you free. Only maturity, inner stability, and self-mastery do. Here's the key. Every conscious decision you make, every pause before you react, every step you take toward yourself, is a brick in the foundation of your freedom. As you grow stronger internally, you start creating a life that isn't controlled by circumstances. You start to manage not just money, not just people, not just time. You start to manage yourself. And then any wealth, opportunity, or responsibility becomes a tool, not a trap. Do you want to learn how to build this kind of freedom step by step? Do you want opportunities to work for you instead of against you? Subscribe now. Here. We don't just survive life, we learn to be free, strong, and unstoppable in every situation.